process and let them go at each other. But I'm getting sick and tired of this kind of debate kind of crap. I want to hear, look, in order for me to make a decision, just like most other Americans who are, and most of us are still undecided, especially on the right. There's a bunch of people that are still undecided. And it is very difficult for us to try to put together a reasoned, logical reason to support one candidate over the other because we're not able to hear them. We're just not. I mean, the debates is where you really get to the meat of what a candidate believes. All the rest of the stuff is just platitudes and sound bites and gotcha stuff and zingers. Trump's the master of zingers. Got to give it to him. Well, look, I want to hear more about his plans as president. Well, I'm sorry, but a zinger on Putin is not going to work. I want these guys and gals to be able to get deep into their policy, their potential policy. And look, they're going to understand whether or not the American people agree with them, whether by their support. If their support starts to go up after such a debate or conference, then they'll know that they're on the right track with the American people. And if the support doesn't go up or it goes down, then they know they need to rethink their position and possibly moderate it. Or when they're out there on the stump telling us exactly why they feel the way they do. But we're not getting it. Look, the lamestream media's attempt at making this entertaining is robbing each and every one of us. That's all it's doing. It's just robbing us. And it is not allowing the American people to become more educated about their candidates. I mean, look, you had that video that's gone viral on YouTube. I don't remember the guy's name who was the reporter who was asking about whether, and he was asking a lot of younger females if he said basically, Hillary Clinton is all for Sharia law. Do you think that's a good idea? And all these women were, because they heard the name Hillary, yeah, that's a good idea. Well, these people need to understand what their candidates really stand for. Now, for one, I've never heard Hillary Clinton come out and say that she supports Sharia law, but she has said that she's all for women's rights. Well, Sharia law is the antithesis of women's rights. It's anti-women's rights. But the reason that the American people are so ignorant is because we have a media that refuses to let them be educated. And let's face it, most Americans are not like, the majority of us that listen to this program. We're going to go out and investigate. The majority of Americans do not. I know as sad as it might be, as that may be, they just don't. They rely on platitudes and sound bites to be educated. And that's not a serious education. Look, we had, record numbers of people watching debates now. And I don't think that we've really learned much. And it isn't because the candidates aren't willing to talk. I mean, hell, even Bernie Sanders was like, of course he was being an idiot by saying we don't care about her damn emails. We do. But his other point was, we need to talk about the realities, what the American people want answers to. Because, that Democratic debate, they weren't even getting anywhere near that kind of stuff. And I think grumpy old grand uncle there was making it clear that, look, this whole email thing is going to straighten itself out, we hope, by the time the election comes up. But you know what? Why don't we start talking about other things as well? There's more going on than just Hillary Clinton's emails. I know some people on the right, they're so fixated on it. And I got to tell you, there is more things. Yeah, frankly, I'm going to piss off some people, but there are some things out there right now that are more important than Hillary Clinton's emails. Now, look, don't get me wrong. Yeah, we need to get to the bottom of that mess. We need to make sure that everybody who is responsible for that mess is held accountable. But that cannot overshadow us trying to figure out who is going to lead this nation for the next 4 years or longer. This whole notion that we're just going to get stuck on sound bites and platitudes like, I mean, come on. Look, the lamestream media really does think very little of the American people as far as their intelligence is concerned. And that's an insult to you. It's a huge insult. Because they think they're more important than you are. Because, they think, well, geez, we know because we're the media. We know everything that's going on. And really, frankly, they don't know jack. Because they're you know what? The lamestream media is like a Michael Moore. All they care about is the lies that they tell themselves, and they convince themselves that those lies are the truth. And you know what? You can go the old notion of repeat a lie often enough, and people will believe it as the truth, but it still doesn't make it the truth. Well, the truth is relative. Really? Truth is that gravity is real. Whatever you want to call it, it is real. And if you want to run around and tell people, oh, gravity doesn't exist, you can fly, and you start convincing people to jump off a 100-story building, they're going to fall to their death, whether or not they believe gravity or not. See, truth is basic, and it's black and white. There is no gray. Is there gray in gravity? No, there's not. It's either you obey the laws of gravity or you probably die. There is no, oh, well, maybe, you'll survive. Not likely. So I just, yeah, it's great television and great radio to hear Trump and Obama and all those guys and gals, dish out zinger after zinger. Yeah, hoot and holler, have fun, woohoo, yay, ha 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 ha, great. Now, how about we get back to the real issues? Okay, you got 5 minutes of funny ha ha. Now let's spend the rest of the time discussing real issues. And what your solutions are to those issues. How are you going to improve upon this particular issue? Or how are you going to fix this broken issue? We're not hearing enough of that. I know that, you know what? I just don't understand or know how people can be so in the tank for a candidate without knowing their positions. I mean, Hillary, Donald. There are people early on. Oh yeah, man, they're going to be they're the best person ever for the job. How do you know? They haven't said anything. I'm not saying that they're not, but how do you know? Because they haven't said anything. I know sometimes people get upset when you start telling the truth. I mean, look, one keynote address that I gave, I pretty much, dumped on Chris Christie. And there was a Chris Christie campaign worker there, and I think I pissed him off so bad that he left. He walked out. Well, let me tell you, there wasn't anything that I did not say that wasn't true. So if I don't care who you support at this point, but let me tell you this. If any American challenges you, frankly, you don't have a right to get upset. If they're asking you legitimate questions or they're pointing out a legitimate fact about your candidate of choice, there is no reason, rhyme nor reason for you to get upset. You need to be able to defend your choice, your candidate of choice. The problem is that most people, when they're confronted with the truth like that, they get pissed off because they can't defend it. Can't defend it because, one, either they don't know, maybe it's the first time they're hearing it, or they just don't know enough about the candidate in order to be functional with a response. And this kind of stuff is really gets my goat. And I listen to people and they tell me all kinds of stuff about, this guy is the only guy to do this, and this woman is the only person who can do this. And like, really, the only person out of 320 million people, they're the only ones? Are you listening to yourself? There is no only one. I know people are always saying, yeah, well, Republicans are always looking back to their gladiator days, if you will, of Ronald Reagan, the glory days. And they lament, there's not going to be another Reagan in our lifetime. No, you're right, there isn't. There's never, ever going to be another Ronald Reagan, just as there is never, ever going to be another George Washington. They were here, and now they're gone. But it doesn't mean that there are not other men and women who have the same type of belief system and faith system that they did. And we've got to, it's not that we need to stop comparing people to some of the great ones in our nation's history. But we've got to stop expecting them to be those people. That's the problem. We get a lot of conservatives that stay at home. Well, I'm just looking for another Ronald Reagan. Well, you're not going to find another Ronald Reagan. Get over it. He was president for 2 terms, his max. He was done, and now he's gone on to heaven. He's dead. You got to get over it. Are there other people who think similar to Ronald Reagan? Yes. So why are you not out there finding them and supporting them? Instead of sitting back in your living room chair and saying, I'm just going to stay home. I'm not voting because there's no Ronald Reagan out there. And nothing ignites my fire more when I hear stuff like that. Because that's just plain, that's not ignorance. That's just plain stupidity. That there were Republicans and conservatives that were stupid? Yeah, if you sit your little tail at home on election night because there isn't a Ronald Reagan running, you're stupid. We got to get past this stuff, folks. Because you're not going to find another Ronald Reagan because whether or not there's another candidate out there that thinks exactly like Ronnie does or did, you're still not going to look at them and view them as being another Ronald Reagan because there is only one. Plain and simple. And you people on the left, well, hey, if you're looking for another Barack, it ain't Hillary. Just telling you, she's not Barack and she's not Bill. I know that's what a lot of people on the left are thinking. Oh man, her husband's Bill and she worked for Barack. She's going to be another Bill and Barack, man. No, she's not. She's not them. Both sides have got to get over this notion of looking for somebody who is exactly like somebody that they admired from the past because they're gone. And what we have to do now is concentrate on the present and the future.